we, in our mind, we think in symbols, right? There are symbols that actually need to be jotted down into the paper, and they need to make sense after that.
If I open my journal to sit down and create something, and I feel like, I have to express something through it, there should be a meaning in what I'm creating. I am hampering my creativity. I'm not enjoying the process basically. But the moment I just create for the sake of creating, for me, it's more like page bhar do. A lot of times I just have to fill this page and that's it. Because when I'm crafting, one thing is everything else is blank for me now. It is, and it's not just something that I'm saying after having taught almost more than 3,000 students. This is one thing they say when we do this, when we start with the crafting thing and I ask them, how do you feel? They're like, I'm in the moment. I'm just present here and nothing else matters to me right now.
Hi everyone, welcome to Beyond the Surface podcast. My name is Harsh Katuj, and today we have Kumudini with us.
Hi.
Kumudini.
Hello.
So, how are you doing today?
First of all, very well. A lot of things on my plate right now, but good, in a good way.
So, before starting, I want you to introduce yourself to the audiences, please.
So I'm Kumudini, and I have been teaching journaling, and I have been selling creative journaling supplies for over 2.5 to 3 years now. And I mean, I started as a person who went into corporate and stayed there for around 3 years or something, and eventually I realized, it's not something I would want to do. I always wanted to do something of my own, and one thing led to the other. I was already working when the lockdown happened, and then I started taking online workshops for kids, and the workshops went very well. Eventually I launched one kit which got in a lot of demand, and I felt like I can make more of them. And now I have a whole business around creative journaling.
Right. So this is for the audiences. We revolve around the subject of psychology, right? Beyond the Surface was made with the intent to serve people who might be suffering from mental health disorders, right? Not just that, but to also provide them knowledge and knowledge regarding psychology. What is psychology? What is mental health? And what are the ways that can help you cope with mental health, right? I am very sure that the people that you currently work with, or the people that you have been within some workshop, they might be some way or another would have faced a mental health issue in one or some other way, right? And I'm very sure that there must have been instances where your journaling techniques would have helped them out.
I'm sure, right? Because see, what happens with journaling is, I mean, even when I started with it, it started more of a crafting, hobby. But as you grow up and you realize there's so much to process, all the emotions that are there that you are not able to, sit with and don't know what to do with them. That's where journaling comes into picture, and you realize you can literally unload a lot of your mind onto it and just, let it be.
Yes.
So that way, not just the people that who are connected with me through my profession, but even my friends, even the people I know, they have, I know everyone has some kind of the other of, a mental issue that they have. I wouldn't call it a mental issue per se, but, we all struggle with something. And journaling helps, whatever in whatever way it can.
All right. So I just want to ask you, what according to you is mental health?
So mental health, according to me, is being in a place which, I mean, how your mind is like, your thoughts. I mean, that is one thing that always keeps going on. And the more sound it is, the more sound you are. It's similar to physical health, but it has a much deeper level, because you don't even know what you have to do to nurture it and nourish it.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe this is why we need psychologists, psychiatrists to take care of the mental health needs, right? And also people like you who are working in this field,
right,
contributing somewhere to the channeling part, right? Okay. So I just want to ask you, how this idea of journaling started. What was the first instance that happened?
I have always been a person who was into art and craft. Now, one time when again when I was in corporate, I would be scrolling through Pinterest to Instagram, and I just generally saw these posts. I don't know how they started keep coming up, because maybe I was in crafting and all. So then one day I'm like, I really like this thing, this creative journaling part. And then I'm comparing to one of my colleagues. I don't have stickers, I don't have this thing to get started with it. And then she's like, you get started with whatever you have. So I had these wedding cards, I had these colored sheets and stuff. I just started creating one day. Eventually, like I said, it started as a crafting thing, but when I knew how it's helping me with my mental health, it just started growing. I started learning more. Now it has come to a stage where I mainly focus on the mental health part of the creative journaling.
That is perfect. That is perfect. So this was the journey that how you started on your podcast, on your on your journaling journey. Journaling journey sounds
It sounds cute.
rhyming.
I know.
Sounds rhyming.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So journaling, right? So when you were drafting your first journal, right? What were the things that you kept in your mind?
Nothing. I mean, even till date, it's been almost 4 to 5 years that I've been practicing journaling, and this is something I teach and firmly believe in, that you don't have
Okay.
to think of anything when you are journaling, especially the
Okay.
creative journaling part. Just let it be. Because a lot of people,
Okay.
get to me like, my journals are not aesthetic, they don't look good, I don't know what to write and stuff. The thing is, the more you bind yourself with rules, the less you are going to focus on what's making you feel good. So just don't keep anything in mind, you just get to it.
Yes, actually, I want to bring a point over here. Anmol has been on our show. He is working as a director. So he said that when I asked him a question that what are the ways that he uses to cope up with stress or many other things that he might be facing, so what is his coping mechanism? So he mentioned that writing is one of the ways that actually helps him out, right? And this is also generally applicable. When you write, the more clarity comes into your head, right? Because sometimes there is so many thoughts going in your head, and you do not have any idea how to take care of that, right? Journaling, I believe, gives you a streamlined way of organizing your thoughts, right? Whatever is in your head comes out down to your paper or your screen, whatever way of journaling that you are using, right? First of all, it helps you calm down. It helps you streamline your thoughts, right? It also helps you creatively because you also have to pen down ideas that are coming, ideas to your head. And one thing that I want to mention over here, it is very helpful for ADHD people who are suffering with ADHD, because for them there is spontaneous bombarding of thoughts and actions and so many other things. For them to maintain concentration, to streamline their ideas, it is really helpful that they use journaling technique to write down their ideas, write down whatever they have in their mind into and jot it down to the paper. Now, I want to ask you, what are your thoughts about that?
So see, the thing is, journaling में one more interesting fact is more on not in the streamlined way or thoughts, which is obviously valid. But the thing is, one interesting thing that happens is everything is a form of energy, and energy gets transferred from one form to another. We have all learned it as a kid, right? So the thing is, all the thoughts that you have in your head, the moment you start putting it out on your notebook, that energy is flowing from your head through your hand onto the paper, so you're no longer holding it, right? That's one interesting part. Another thing which I look at is, so see what because I focus on creative journaling, which is making things more interesting by adding crafting, painting, stickers, visual stuff to it, right? So what happens is, sometimes, I mean, it happens with me all the time, that I'm just not in the mood to write what I'm thinking because it's already so overwhelming, right? So when you bring creative journaling into picture, you do something which is a happy activity, and then you can focus on streamlining your thoughts and just putting it out clearly for yourself.
Cool. So yeah, so if I have to ask you more about creative journaling, what are the main tools, techniques that you use in crafting your journals? And I'll also ask you to show your journals that you have crafted till now. right?
Sure thing. So I see, like I said, I never have something in mind on this is how I want to get started, or this is something I should always have in my journals. So
Okay.
what I do is I just look at the stuff that I have, and most of the times although it's quite a what do you say, distraction from what I already do, but I always say that
Okay.
you don't need to buy things to start journaling, right?
Alright.
For example, there's one particular page that I made, right? All of this is packing sheet which I got in a gift. This was a golden sheet that I had. Again, some strings that I had, stones from a suit, some tag from a clue. Just added it all and put it all together, and this is how it came out to be, right?
Wow.
So all you do is just put things together, form it into a collage, at least to begin with. Eventually, what happens is, this is something that I teach in my course as well, which is that how do you give a proper form to what you're doing in creative journaling specifically.
Cool.
But obviously, when you're starting out, you don't even have to look at how is it coming out. Just start with it. Because all the students that I have in my courses, most of them have started. Now they feel stuck. I just get blank. That's where my role comes in. Okay, I can teach you how. I can give you a direction and then you can just follow it.
Perfect. So, I'll also ask you to send me photographs of this because I want my audiences to see the whole of the details that you have put on.
Definitely.
Right? All right. So, creative journaling, right? What exactly it is that we do in creative journaling? How does this thing exactly work? Let's just say that I am the person who buys your journal, and I don't know what to do with it.
Right.
How do I start?
So, so what happens is just understand one basic concept, which is journaling is diary writing. Yeah, obviously, right? Creative journaling is adding any kind of creativity to your diary writing. Okay, so I would be writing my thoughts any which ways, but what I'm doing is I'm just making it visually look good, because when I'm crafting, one thing is everything else is blank for me now. It is, and it's not just something that I'm saying after having taught almost more than 3,000 students. This is one thing they say when we do this, when we start with the crafting thing, and I ask them, how do you feel? They're like, I'm in the moment. I'm just present here and nothing else matters to me right now. Right? So what you do is you take certain things with you. You take colored sheets, you probably take stickers, you take some papers that you have. You stick them in whatever form you can. Paste them, cut and paste them, and then you write in all the remaining space. Just to begin with, it's a very vague and simple idea to get started with. Obviously, it's more like when you are starting out to paint, or suppose you are starting out in an artistic journey and someone gives you a crayon. Just fill this shape with a particular color, right? Obviously, once you start enjoying that, you would want to learn more. You would want to learn what are the different brush strokes. You would want to learn how can I improve in my craft. Same goes with creative journaling. Get started with the basic, and then you can always improve.
All right. Creative journaling is all about yourself. It is all about expressing yourself, all about expressing your internal thoughts that may not be possible to put in the writing form. If I'm not wrong, correct me if I'm wrong.
Not really. See, the problem is when we create something, it's not always a form of expression. Right? I mean, if I am creating something, I'm just creating because I want to shun all the thoughts that are in my head. Right? So when if I open my journal to sit down and create something, and I feel like, I have to express something through it, there should be a meaning in what I'm creating. I am hampering my creativity. I'm not enjoying the process, basically. But the moment I just create for the sake of creating, for me, it's more like page bhar do. A lot of times I just have to fill this page and that's it. And I just feel good after it. So you don't have to, be like, this has to have a message, there has to be something to it. You create art to create art. That's it.
Okay. Just for the sake of creating art, you create art. Okay. That is a good idea. I mean, it does not always have to be that you have to transfer your thoughts. Maybe whatever that comes into your head at the spontaneous moment, it needs to come out, right? It is also part of the journaling techniques that I used during therapy session. While you are given a homework, so what is homework? There are certain tasks that you have to go home. When you are done with your sessions, and you have to go home, you have to reflect on the thoughts that were coming into your head while you were during the therapy, right? And there are certain questions that are asked to you. So what do you have to do? You have to write down the specific questions that have been asked by a therapist and write down into the journaling book that you currently have, right? So what happens is you get more clarity on your thoughts, right? I know that I'm deflecting here from your idea that it is more about creative journaling. I'm just giving the audiences the idea how journaling works in overall scenario. Actually, this is a good idea, and I think if Cognify can also come up with something like that. All right. So first of all, I'll give you a good idea about what Cognify is. Cognify is psychology based. Um, it is a psychology based tech company. So what are we trying to do? We are trying to help mental health professionals treat their clients in a much more better way while integrating AI to their practice as well. Right. We are also trying to help people who might be suffering from mental health disorders and so that they can use many other tools, techniques that we are working towards curating many things so that they can actually be benefited with. Having said that, journaling is one of the techniques that is actually really helpful for mental health professionals, mental health patients, and for people in general as well, right? If we can digitalize it in some way, and maybe we can do something about that, make it in the digital format for the creative part. How do you think about
think I'm not pro digital person, because I just feel, like I said, very initially, that when you are making anything, when you are writing something, your energy is
it?
flowing. And plus, the biggest thing that I don't like about today is the screen time that we have. I mean, I have to be so
Indeed.
conscious about the fact that I'm always on the screen. I have gotten those blue light, glasses and stuff, so that I'm not affecting my eyes. So the moment you tell me something like art or something like writing has to be digitalized, it's taking away that emotion, that it's taking away that transfer of energy which I look at.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, not
I
something.
mean, yes. There is the theme that I have picked up by looking at your journals is that you have used various many uh, clues,
Right.
many pieces of arts, and
Right.
put them together. So yes, indeed, there is certain form of energy that goes into
Right.
crafting it and making it into a thing that actually looks good, right? Can you show us more of your journal?
So I'll show you one example. So even my to-do
Mhm.
lists look like this, right? I mean, there are
Hmm.
people who are in the favor of digitalizing this as well. I'll make it
Hmm.
on my Google or whatever. I mean, this whole journal is my to-do list, and I just keep decorating it this way,
Wow,
right?
this looks beautiful.
So, I mean, I can't think of opening my phone every time I need to see what task needs to be done and everything that has to be striked off, because
Right.
anyhow throughout the day I have to be on phone, either because of
Hmm.
my profession, or there are calls, or there are
Hmm.
meetings, or whatever. So I
Hmm.
want this thing to be in a notebook. I want
In
to,
the in the physical form.
yes, I need to, strike it out from my hand to feel I have achieved
Right.
something
Right.
now,
Right.
that rewarding
Right.
mother thing that has to be there.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, that's my form of, going ahead
Hmm.
with things, not digitalizing it,
Hmm.
but actually making them analog if possible.
All right. All right. I mean, I understand that there are few things that I believe are really difficult to digitalize, right? Creativity, one among those things, right? Physically, there is some form of energy that goes into crafting things, building it. However, I know if some engineer is watching this, he must be going on with some idea. No, I can do that.
I mean, I
I
think it's
can do that.
easy to digitalize everything, but the question is, do
Yeah.
we really need to do it? Because the moment you
Hmm.
digitalize everything, you're also taking away the human touch. And I guess not having human touch in most of the things is one of the
Hmm.
causes of feeling this, the way we are all
Yes. Yes.
feeling these days.
I can understand by whatever time that I have talked to you, that you are more of a person who likes to be in the physical space than to be on the virtual world, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that so? Yeah. And if I say that these type of things like AI-enabled chatbots can actually be helpful. What do you think about that?
Can be helpful. I'll again, give a live case example. So I have a friend. We met many years ago. Like it has been 2 to 3, more than 3 years actually, that we met physically. Right? We had met before that, but then we did not. Right? Now she is my go-to person whenever I have some kind of problem in my life. Right?
Okay.
So whether I'm reaching out to her on call, which is obviously not always possible because we both tend to talk for longer hours. So we try to, chat with whatever we have, right? So I text her, she sends me a reply, she gives me a solution and stuff. Now there was this one point in my life where I was like, I just wish we lived closer to each other, because all I want right now is just being there with you. You keep working, I'll just sit there because I want that. I just want you to be around. I just need a physical presence around me, and yours would be good because I know you get me, right?
Yes,
so whereas I do understand the role of AI generated chatbots, but it can't be a alternative for the physical or the human touch. So again, same thing.
It cannot be an alternative to human touch unless we come an alternative to a human touch as well in the physical type.
Which I would want to have it, but yeah. If it can help anyone, and obviously we can always use the technology to good things.
Right. I mean, technology can be a boom, it can be a bane. It is only that how the way you use it. True. Right? Yeah. So you were telling that you were in your corporate life before coming to the journaling journey, right? The rhyming part, the journaling journey.
I like it.
The new rhyme that we have.
Right.
So, corporate world. What was the shift from your corporate world to this journaling journey?
Shift in what way?
Shift. What was the thing that drove you to start your journaling journey?
I think I have always been a person who likes to do their own thing. I mean, I can't be someone who is told, you do this at this time. And I'm not someone who can, go to an office at 9 and then be back at 5 or 7 and then start my own life. That's not me. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I could not do it. I mean, after having experimented it for 3 years, after pushing myself to do it, I used to be in my office. There was this before lockdown, and I was wondering, I just want to go home. I just want to lie down for some time. One thing that always got to me was, I have worked. Now I really need to rest before I start working again. So one of my colleagues, again, she was like, I think you will do very good if you do something of your own, because you are an independent person that way. I mean, now that I'm working on my thing, there are times when I wake up at 5 a.m. and the first thing that comes to my mind is I have to pack orders. I get up and do it. Throughout the day, I might just not do anything. I might just be lying. I might just be watching something. And then towards the night, I'll be like, okay, now I want to work. Or there are times when I'm actually working 9 to 5 and then I take my time off, specifically telling myself, at 6, now I'll not work. Now I have to give time, have to have me time. So that flexibility is something that I had always craved. And this business touch would allowed me to.
So independence, discipline is what you have, what has moved you?
Yeah. More of flexibility. I would also say freedom, flexibility. Discipline was somehow always there because of NCC. But
Right. Okay, you were in NCC.
For almost 5 years, as a junior cadet as well and as a senior cadet.
That is good. Actually, I also was in NCC.
Wow.
And I have a family history of people being in army.
Got it. I get it.
Yes. So this is why whenever I see a person who has a history of army or maybe in the defense forces, I get a little excited.
I know, right? It's a whole different topic to talk about.
Yeah, there is something. There is a connect. There is actually a connect when you have someone with the same background and you actually get to know, this is my person.
I know. I mean, I remember when we NCC cadets were together, all as friends, and there used to be someone who was not in NCC, and all we had was talking about the forces and stuff, and the other person would be like, "Can you please talk? Can you have another topic to talk about?" So yeah, I get it.
Right. I mean, yes. being in the defense forces, or being from the background of the defense forces, or being a professional who works in defense forces, it actually enhances your personality to a very big level, right? It teaches you discipline. It teaches you punctuality. It teaches you vigor. It teaches you how to be a good person. And
True.
I believe that is
You
very
summed
true.
it very well. I mean, all the words are just like in alignment.
Right. Okay. Now that we are deflecting from the journaling part, let's come back to the journaling part, right? So, creative journaling must be sometimes really hard, because I know there is something called creative block, right? I think, I don't think, but I am just assuming, correct me if I'm wrong, to assume. Have you, you might have faced a creative block in some other way, that you were not, might not
I
able
do.
to get good ideas, put them into the
If
words.
not even good, it's more like you don't want to create altogether. I mean, the whole idea of opening a book and creating something is not something that appeals to you. And there's something I keep teaching my students, and there's something I follow myself again, which is don't force yourself to do something that you don't want to do. The creative block has come because you really needed to rest. You need to rewind. You need to be कि ठीक है अभी नहीं करना तो नहीं करना, because eventually it just comes up. That's a different case if you feel कि नहीं, it has stretched to a month, 2 months, and I still don't feel like it. The problem is, what happens is, if, for example, if I'm doing creative journaling or I'm doing some form of crafting, I'm like, oh, I'm not able to do this because you're bored of it. You need something new now. So try something new and then explore that world and see how that goes for you.
All right. Okay.
Don't complicate it.
That is good. So, taking a break from journaling, or maybe a certain thing that is not currently working with you, for you, can be a good idea of taking care of the creative block. Right? Right. That is good. Okay. I believe we have talked a lot about creative journaling now. And okay, let me just ask you this question. What do you want to talk about?
Anything. I mean, I not just creative journaling, but I also teach journaling for mental health, where you write things. So there's these journaling clubs that I host. So a morning journaling club and an evening journaling club, which is like a 30-minute activity 3 times a week. So we start with the creative part because obviously that helps you calm down, that helps you get into that feel good factor. After that, we come down and do this writing part, wherein I'm sharing prompts, wherein I'm telling you what all can you reflect on. I mean, as simple a thing as, where do you derive your courage from? Or if you were on a scale of 0 to 10, if you were a bold on 10, what would you do? So now that makes you understand a lot of things about you. The more you question yourself, the more you know yourself, the more sorted things are for you. And the certainty is what we seek, and self-reflection sort of helps you get that. And journaling. So I think one thing that I want to clarify here is journaling a lot of times is considered as something, when you are writing something, your thoughts down, plans down, that's journaling, which is not always the case. Because, sometimes people are like, how can I journal every day? You can't. Yes. One thing is you can't, and you should not even aim for it. Again, my personal experience, but the moment I made it a rule, I have to journal every day, I got so bored of it that I just did not want to do it at all. It's overwhelming. Exactly. Right? So the thing is, keep it 3 times a week, 4 times a week, 2 times a week if you feel it's 3 times is also a lot. And the days where you have no thoughts, where nothing happening is happening in your life, the days there are normal routines, pick up some self-reflection prompts. Ask yourself questions about yourself. Know yourself more. The more you know yourself, the more you know what you are standing on, where your ground is like, and it helps you sail through life very easily.
Perfect. I mean, the way that you were saying that it is not important that you should journal every day. I mean, actually, I can relate to that. Why? Because, in my family, they actually really, what I can say, they appreciate intelligence, they appreciate academics, and they say that journaling is a very good way of expressing yourself, right? So right from the beginning, when I was in my childhood, so they used to give me a notebook. They used to ask me to write whatever the hell you want to write, just write. First of all, it will help you improve your handwriting, which I could not.
I'm
I have
sorry.
a terrible handwriting. I have a terrible handwriting.
Right.
Secondly, whatever thoughts that come into your mind, you will be able to put it into
Yeah.
words. What are exactly those? Because we, in our mind, we think in symbols, right? There are symbols that actually need to be jotted down into the paper, and they need to make sense after that. So this is why my parents used to ask me to, whatever you want to write, just write. First of all, the time of a child is going into something creative. Their thoughts are getting streamlined. Handwriting improves,
Right.
which didn't.
It never does. I mean,
But-
with journaling, it never does at least.
I mean, they just used to ask, whatever the homework that was given to us during our childhood, that is a different thing. But then write in good handwriting, write in cursive handwriting, write like this, that,
Right.
कचरा हो गया, सारा कचरा हो गया उसका. All right, coming back to the point. So I was saying that whenever I try to write for a long period of time, like I wanted to write journal every day, but I could not, because not every day many things happen to you
Exactly.
that are actually worthy that should go into a journal, right?
Hmm.
And sometimes I think that maybe once a week I can write something like that. So I do try to write journals as well.
Right.
But daily journal don't work.
I mean, I know, see, there are times when you are going through a lot, and if you're not journaling every day, it can take a toll on you. It has personally happened with me, There was this one time I was stalling, I was spiraling, so much was happening. And then one of my friends was like, when was the last time you journaled? And I was like, that's been 15 days. And that was a realization, I needed to write things down, and I did not do that. But at the same time, there were times when my life was smooth, everything was fine. And if at that point I started writing in because morning pages, night page, journaling pages, they are so hyped and cliched. So what I did is, okay, I'll write every day. Now, every day when you are writing, what unconsciously you do, because there is nothing worth writing, you try to find out problems and issues that were there. The moment you create them, you also focus on things that earlier you wouldn't have focused on. And that creates a problem where there was none.
Yes.
Right? So this is just again a reminder, when you don't have anything to write about your life, write about yourself, your values, what is something you like, what do you not like. There are so many prompts to work around and to know yourself better. And that just helps you with it.
Okay. So this can be in just pointers or big sentences.
I always suggest that when you are writing about yourself, for example, suppose I say, okay, I'm blank with the prompt right now, but even suppose it's a simple question as in where do you derive your courage from? Okay. Instead of just writing, I derive my courage from my family or my passion. I never drop it till that point. I will make sure I write at least 1 to 2 pages, extend it as much as possible, ask myself as much as questions as I can. If I'm saying family, why family? What do they do that gives me courage? What do they don't do that, makes me crave for it even more? What do I do with that courage? Why do I even need that courage? Why is it not coming from me? Can it come from any other source? So I know what's exactly happening in my head and what am I even craving at the particular moment.
All right. So the theme that I can take over here, you are saying this because I believe that you have also developed templates.
No. I mean, there are templates, obviously, when it comes to sorting your head out. For example, suppose I'm in a situation which is something I'm not able to cope up very well, right? I might have a template for that. What am I feeling? What happened exactly? What do I think happened exactly?
Right.
What is my immediate solution to this? Right? What is the role of another person in it? What is my role in it? So these are certain questions I can ask myself to make it even more sorted instead of just a streamlining thought. Whatever, however it's coming in my head. But there are templates for certain things, but it's always the why, what, and how is something that you can always come up with on your own itself.
That is perfect.
At the same time, initially it might be difficult, but once you start asking these questions to yourself, you will get into the hang of what all do you need our clarity on. It's more like, talking to another person and you tell them, I like chocolate ice cream a lot. And they're like, why chocolate? Why not anything else? Because this thing happens. And then you're trying to tell them more about it. So it becomes sorted for you.
Yes, that is a good input from your end. That asking what, why, how might actually give a deep insight into your thoughts. Why are they, or what are they originating from? Right. Okay. If I were to ask you that how creative journaling is different from maybe personal journaling, how would you say? What would you ask you?
The creative and visual part itself. I mean, for example, suppose let me give you an example if possible, if I have it in my journal somewhere. Okay, let's have a look at this one.
Okay.
Right? All I did was I made a splash of paint here. The to-do is not even related to what I've written here. I just pasted some butterflies, and the rest all are my thoughts. Right. So creative journaling is not different. It's just an added tool. I mean, if at any moment you tell me, I'm already overwhelmed, suppose. I'm anxious, I'm stressed, something is just, weighing so much on me. And at that moment you tell me, go sit down and write about it. I'm already overwhelmed. I mean, I am stressed out. And at that moment you tell me to sort it out, it's not possible. Because if it was that easy, I could have done it. And I wouldn't even have been stressed or anxious right now. Right? Indeed. But the moment you tell me, just create something, just fill colors into something, just make it look vibrant and stuff. Right, the moment I'm making it vibrant, the moment I'm not doing something to sort my anxiety, I'm just doing something and it's helping me, it becomes easier for me. Then writing down my thoughts become easier for me. All right. It's more like, even if I have to clarify it more, just suppose you are going for a walk, okay, and you tell me, go for a walk for your mental health. And I need to, when I come back, I need to feel so positive about myself. I need to be so confident about myself. Your whole focus is on, feeling good rather than enjoying the walk.
Exactly. Until unless you don't enjoy a certain thing, you cannot actually get good benefits.
Exactly. So the creative journaling part is making you feel good. The other part, the mental health, the feel good factor, the knowing yourself better comes with. It's an added.
So it is about enjoying the journey. Enjoying the journey, not focusing towards the result.
Another interesting fact to support this would be, they always say, you make art first. It's more like a kid learns to dance first before they start walking. Yeah. You see, kids are sitting and they are doing like this. If a music plays, they haven't even started walking by then. Right? Someone gives you a crayon, the first thing a kid does is draw on the wall instead of writing things down. So naturally, a human is an artistic person. We have art in us. And when you are catering to that inner child of yours through art, you are anyhow feeling good. Because you are nurturing that child.
All right. Okay. So just getting things out of your head, getting things out of your mind, putting them into a piece of blank pages. Would that be the right expression?
Again, I would still not say it's expressing something. It's just there was a lot in you which you could not hold. And you have not put that thing out in some form, but you have just pushed that energy out of you. Again, it may not mean anything when it's out on the paper, when the paper is no more blank, but it's out of you. However possible.
Whatever way possible it is out. It is. That is perfect. All right. I also know that you conduct workshops, right? How often do you conduct your workshops?
So mostly I conduct 2 workshops in a month. That's how the pattern goes. The club is something that's an ongoing thing. It's thrice a week, every month. But the workshops, mostly 2 of them. One is a course that teaches everything from the basic journaling to building you up, all the forms of creative journaling that are there. And then there is one one-day workshop, which can be travel journaling for mental health, or managing your time. So obviously a lot more are going to be added up to it, but mostly it's 2 in a month.
All right. So are there any segments of your journaling? I mean, you also sell journals, right? Are there any segments in those?
Segments in what way?
segments in like creative journaling, just for mental health or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So I have workshops which are journaling. Travel journaling is one workshop that I conduct. Journaling for mental health is one that I conduct. Then I conduct one for managing your time through bullet journaling. Then even when I'm selling supplies, there are mystery boxes into it. There are stickers into it. There are journaling kits into it. So a lot of variety that you can choose from.
All right. What is that in your mystery box?
So mystery boxes are monthly things. This is how my business actually started. I just started with a very random idea one day. I'll be sending out monthly boxes with journaling supplies in it. So people don't know what they are going to receive, so they make a payment. Whatever they receive is a surprise for them. So however it comes out, you just go and create with it. And it's a monthly thing, so you can subscribe for 3 months in one go, and you will receive one box every month. So it's a surprise for you to yourself.
So this is something that you can also use in your journals?
Yeah, obviously. Again, to give you examples, if I have to look at my journals itself where I have used supplies. So for example, if it's this one, right? Okay. So this picture was a part, the sticker was a part, the vaccine, the washi tapes, these papers, these were all a part of the mystery boxes. And all I had to do was put them into one form and then write my thoughts in. So it's more like you don't have to run around, what should I paste, what should I not paste. You already have things. All you have to do is pick them and put them into some kind of collage. So less, stress for you. What should I buy? What should I not buy? What should I put in it here? That will look good.
Okay. All right. So where are your workshops conducted?
So mostly online, but once now from the last 2 months, I'm also conducting them offline. Both of them have happened in Delhi. There is another one coming up in Delhi on 10th of December. But so I've started doing the offline workshops also now that I know the human touch is so more important, and it actually does make a difference. Yes, makes sense. All right. Yeah, I believe that's it. Okay, so Kumudini, I want to ask you, what do you think about this podcast? It's really lovely. I personally am a person who likes to talk. And talking about something that I enjoy doing and I'm already doing is like an added bonus to it. So yeah, it was an amazing experience being here. All right, having a fun time. Yeah. All right. Okay. With this, we will wrap our podcast for today. All right. So if we were to conclude everything, what did we talk about? We talked about journaling. We talked about creative journaling. We talked about how creative journaling can be helpful for your mental health. I believe there is marginally any difference between journaling and creative journaling because you can put whatever you have in yourself into the pages that you want, right? I believe not just pages. If you see, I believe journaling is one way of doing this, but there can also be other ways of doing this as well, right? What do you think about it? Right? Of course. Whatever suits you. It's more like not one shoe fits all thing. So, for example, some people might take a pottery and they feel, it helps me unwind, it helps me relax. Do that. If someone says, maybe embroidery is something that I do and it helps me unwind. So, because journaling got so overwhelming for me, work and, personal things. So, I wanted some other hobby. Embroidery worked out for me because when I'm doing it, I'm just totally lost. So, whatever works for you, whatever helps you calm down, feel good, take it up. Yeah. And we also talked about that journaling, it is not important that you should journal every day. Either you also said that you should not, right? I would suggest that you should not. So, and yes, journaling does not help you improve your handwriting. That is what concludes one of them. All right. With this, we will wrap this podcast. We thank Kumudini for coming to our show, right? And I wish you all of the success that there is in the world. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure being here. Yeah. All the best. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. With this, we are going to